You're watching Ian, the HR Pro live podcast where I'm dangerously unscripted. But today I have a special guest. He's a leadership coach named Keith Shaw, and we're going to be spending most of the show with him today. I know Wednesdays is normally our side gig, side hustles day, but today we got the guest. So we're going to give Keith the floor and I'll give him a quick presentation intro here. Hi Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey Ian, how are you today? It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
I'm doing great, and I thank you very much for acting like it's an honor to be on my show. That's awesome. So anyway, for those of you, for those of our viewers that are just learning about you, just tell us about yourself and who you are and what you do.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everybody. My name is Coach Keith Shaw. I am a speaker, coach, trainer, and DISC human behavior expert. My motto is, let's make the workplace better so we can make the world a better place. I am focused on leadership. I'm obsessed with leadership, and I'm on a mission to help individuals elevate the level of leadership in their life so that they can make a positive difference in the world. So that's a quick summary about me. And I just want to mention, you mentioned that today is typically Side Hustle Day. In addition to being an advocate for leadership, I am also an advocate for entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur all of my life, in addition to working in corporate America for the last 30 years as an HR director. I've always had something on the side as a hustle, and my side hustle has also become my full-time job, which is my training and development company, as well as a real estate company that started as a side hustle and is now one of my main sources of income. So if you want to talk a little bit about side hustle as well, I'm definitely interested and willing to share some of that as well. My career started many years ago. I'm going to date myself by sharing this with you. I graduated from college in 1988. And with a degree in management. I studied management because my parents worked in factories and they came home every day at the dinner table and complained about leadership in the companies that they worked for. And that inspired me to pursue management as education. So I graduated with a degree, had my piece of paper thinking I was going to go change the world. And I went out and started looking for a job. And of course, nobody would hire me because I had no experience. So I said, give me a job at the bottom and I will work my way to the top. And that's exactly what I did. They hired me as a mechanic. And let me tell you, I was not and probably still am not a mechanic. But I took on the new challenge and I learned some things about being a mechanic that helped me in my career as an HR professional as well. So I took on that challenge, started as a mechanic, worked my way from a mechanic all the way to a director level for Fortune 500 companies. And that's what I've been doing for the last 30 years, helping organizations develop their leaders. I like to say that my motto is, let's make the workplace better so we can make the world a better place. And there's a lot of bumps along the way, but we can get into those if we have time to. That is kind of how I got to where I am today. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And I'll just share with you and your audience my journey, some of the things that I learned on that journey, because I believe that I can share some things that will help other HR professionals and other leaders have more success and more happiness.
Wow, that's awesome, Keith. I love the story. You've got some experience, and I encourage anyone who's watching right now to go ahead and put a question in the comments. If appropriate, Keith will try to answer them for you, and if not, keep it clean. And we can always try to answer the questions at the end too, whatever comments come into the chat. So that's awesome. Okay, it's funny. I put myself out, and then all of a sudden we traded sides. So that's very bizarre. Anyway, that's awesome. I'm so happy you're on the show. I got question number 2 here. What was the specific spark or aha moment that set you on this path towards leadership and personal growth? Now, you kind of touched on it a bit, but could you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, there's several things. Of course, my parents was the first thing that got me started. The second thing was my own journey. As I started to learn and grow in my career, I found myself performing well, and became a high potential, got an opportunity to move into a leadership position. And I got promoted, but there was no training. And this was for a Fortune 500 company. A company had 120,000 employees, but they didn't have an adequate process to train leaders and get them prepared for their job to lead others. So I found myself in a new position, wondering now what do I do? I've got this position that I've dreamed about, and what do I do? So I had to figure out on my own, what do I do to become a great leader? Because I wasn't getting a lot of help from the organization that I worked for. So I spent time and effort studying and working to become the best leader I could possibly become. And it worked. And let me tell you, if you can take away one word to summarize what I'm going to tell you today, especially if you're a leader or if you're an HR leader, the word is intentionality. You see, growth doesn't just happen automatically. Sure, you're going to learn some lessons over the course of time, but that's going to take a long time for you to learn all the lessons that you need to be great. If you want to accelerate your growth, you have to be intentional. And because I hated the feeling of not knowing how to do things and not understanding how to be a great leader, I was very intentional about using my time and my effort and my energy to accelerating my growth. So intentionality is the through line for this entire conversation. So I studied and I learned how I could accelerate my growth by developing fundamental skills, by identifying how I could identify with people, by learning the behavior styles of others so that I could understand how to best communicate with them. I'll talk a little bit about DISC, human behavior assessment and training. So I took the DISC assessment and the Myers-Briggs because I wanted to understand how people work. This is common sense to me. We work with people. Shouldn't we know how people work, right? Isn't that common sense? But most companies don't provide their employees or their leaders with human behavior training and assessment so that they can, number one, understand their own style, and number two, understand the styles of the people that they're in charge of caring for and leading. And so once I did that, and it helped me develop great relationships with everybody that I worked with, I realized, you know what? This is underutilized, and I'm going to take this and utilize it to help me grow as an individual and to also use it as part of what I provide for the leaders that I support to help them be more effective. And I utilize that, those and a few other things to help me accelerate my growth as a leader. So as a manager, I got tremendous success as a manager myself. And I also helped many other people experience more success and happiness in leadership roles based on some of the things that I shared with them to help them advance faster. I have a system that I've created, and I'll share that system with you as well. It's called FAST, and I call it Fast Forward. The F stands for fundamentals. One thing that I noticed back then and that I still see today is that most companies fail to give their leaders fundamental skills to help them succeed as leaders. And that to me is sad. And that's one of the reasons why I retired from corporate and started my training and development company so that I can help leaders or organizations do a better job of providing fundamental leadership skills to leaders. And I've identified 5 key skills that every leader should know immediately or know or master as quickly as possible. Uh, and my acronym for this is called CRAVE, C-R-A-E-E. The C stands for communication skills. Communication is probably the most important skill that you can use and develop for your career growth. The R stands for resilience. People are going to fail. They're going to not get the results they want. They need to learn how to bounce back. They need to learn how to be persistent and to continue moving forward and to be ready for the change that is inevitably going to happen. And so they need to be taught resilience skills so that they are prepared for that. Awareness. I mentioned DISC before. Leaders need to discover who they are. They need to discover their skills, their communication style. They need to get clear on what they want, and they need to discover what their who their employees are, and what they want, and what they can do to lead and satisfy the needs of their employees. So awareness is significant. It's one of the first things that leaders should learn, and when they move into new positions. The V stands for vision. Over the years, I've found that most leaders know where the mission, vision, values statement is, but they don't know what it is. They can't tell you what it is without going and pulling a book off the shelf and reading it. And I encourage leaders to have a strong understanding of their organization's mission, vision, and values for 2 reasons. Number one, if they understand it, they will understand how their department supports the mission, vision, and values of that organization. And number two, if they understand it, they will be able to articulate to their subordinates how the work that they do every day is supporting the mission, vision, and values of the organization. And then lastly is the E, which stands for effective decision making. Most people make decisions purely based on gut. They don't have a process. And what I do is to help leaders develop a process that helps them make more effective decisions. And so, that is one of the main systems, the fundamental skills that I teach. The second is the A in FAST is for accountability. I help leaders understand the importance of the role that they have. Sometimes when people get promoted, they think they've arrived and that their job is just to be there and tell people what to do. And that is not the case. When you are in a leadership position, I turn the organization chart upside down. Typically, we see an organization chart like this with the leader at the top. I practice servant leadership, which turns the organization chart this way. And we as leaders are here. We support and we work for the employees who are above us. We help to remove the obstacles that prevent them from performing the brilliant work that they're capable of performing. And that makes a huge difference when we're able to do that. The S stands for systems and service. I help to create systems that make it easier for leaders to do the things that they want to do or need to do. Let's take, for instance, leaders don't like giving negative feedback to people or constructive criticism. So, for instance, I give them an acronym that helps them do that more easily. And the easier things are, the more likely leaders will do it. And that will help them to manage their teams more effectively. The service is just a concept that I learned in the late 80s from the great Zig Ziglar. He has this timeless concept of you can get whatever you want if you help enough other people get what it is that they want. And so I teach that and I practice that, and it has made a tremendous difference in my career as well as the careers of the leaders that I have coached and trained over the years. And then the final thing is building trust. There is a trust deficit today. A lot of employees have lost trust in their employers and their leaders. And we must provide an environment that rebuilds trust if we want to get the results that we want. And I have a system that provides a framework and allows leaders to exhibit these behaviors. There's 10 behaviors that answer the 3 questions that employees want to know. And John Maxwell teaches this. I didn't create this. John Maxwell did. It is, they want to know, do you care about me? And you've heard him say, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. So do you care about me? Can I trust you? And can you help me? Those are 3 questions that all employees want to know. And these 10 behaviors answer all those questions with behavior. So the way that we behave as leaders can answer those questions so that we can rebuild that trust. And in most cases, most organizations don't have specific expectations regarding behavior for their employees, for their leaders. They don't communicate them clearly. But these 10 behaviors are behaviors that bring leadership to life, and they can be a great to you to help to create expectations for your leaders.
Yeah, woo, a lot of stuff there. I like that, fast and crave, and it brings me back to why I switched over to HR back in the day. Uh, uh, I'm not going to age myself as much as you, but when I was 30, I decided this is messed up. What's wrong with these leaders? What's wrong with my supervisors? Why can't they be better than what they are? So I was just like, yeah, I can do better. So I switched to HR, and it was all because I just had this terrible bunch of supervisors and managers. So it's really interesting. I always think about, I get this analogy where I talk about how you shouldn't promote your best salesperson to become the sales manager, because they might be an expert in sales, but they don't know anything about people yet. You haven't trained them to be a manager, to manage people. And I love everything that you said there. Just kind of rang out to me and said, yeah, that's Keith knows what he's talking about. That's for sure. Let's see. Question number 3 I got here for you is, what is the most common challenge that people are facing today? What is the solution? Now, when we're talking about challenge for people, are we talking just everyday people, or are we talking business leaders, people in businesses? What's it? Just give me the difference there.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that the challenge is the same. So whether we're talking about leaders, and I'm going to define leaders as anyone who is in a role or position of leadership, or someone who has influence over others, and then somebody who's not a leader in general. But I do want to make sure I say that everybody's a leader, whether you're a leader at work, you're a leader at home, you're a leader at church, you're a leader in whatever group you're in. Each and every one of us is a leader, regardless of whether or not we have the authority through a title. And I believe that my progressive career growth is because of my leadership, the leadership that I practiced that helped me to, exercise self-control and discipline over myself before I had responsibility for other people. And I believe that paved the way for me to get in positions where I was given the authority as well, because I demonstrated significant ability to lead myself. But the most common problem that I see, and this problem is common for CEOs, emerging leaders, individual contributors, regardless, everybody seems to have the same issue the majority of the time. And it is that they are not clear about what they want for their career and their life. They may be in a position of power and authority, but they still have not gotten crystal clear on what they want and how they're going to get it. And so that's one of the great things about coaching is that we start the process with discovery, helping them to discover who they are, what their communication skills are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then determining based on those things, do I have what I need to get to where I would like to go? And based on knowing where they are and knowing where they'd like to go, then we create a plan to move them towards getting to where it is that they want to go. And in most cases, people haven't thought about any of those three things. They haven't thought about where am I today and am I happy with where I am today? They haven't thought about where do I want to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years? And they haven't thought about what am I going to do to position myself to be ready for whatever it is that I want in the future. So intentionality, once again, is what I bring to people and help them utilize as a superpower so that they can accelerate their growth, so they can accelerate their achievement, so that they can experience more happiness and achieve the life that they desire and deserve.
All right. You know, I've been leaning into the coaching side of things with my own business because I just see all these issues coming up, and it is so interesting how when we reach out, we connect with that business coach or a leadership coach or even just create our own mastermind group with some friends or some other business owners, how we can really generate these ideas and think of things, do the brainstorming, think of things that we just can't think of on our own. And you point out what we work through what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and nobody wants to know what their weakness is, but your weakness could actually be your superpower, right? Once you understand it, right? So that's great. Question number 4. Beyond titles and achievements, what's the ripple effect you hope to leave behind, and can you help your students also leave behind a ripple effect?
Yeah. So once again, my objective is to make the workplace better. When I look at the Gallup poll information that shows that businesses lose $450 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars every year because of low engagement. And the largest factor on engagement is leadership. I want to impact that. And, I want to have a legacy of helping other people, other organizations implement processes and systems that accelerate great growth in their organizations so they can create a competitive advantage, so that they can create a better work environment and retain their talented people, so they can create a better work environment and so that their people are happier. And all of that translates into more success and more money for the organization, which is positive for the employees as well. And all that, all stems from my parents' experience. I would like for organizations to take the lead to help to improve the incivility that we see happening in the world today. I believe that HR professionals are uniquely positioned and uniquely experienced and uniquely qualified to lead the charge to ensure that we treat each other civilly when we're at work. We spend probably almost as much time at work as we do at home. And so, I want to make a difference in the lives of others by helping organizations and individuals elevate leadership so that they can experience more happiness, success, and get better results.
Oops, sorry, coughing here. well, that's awesome. I mean, you've got this great career that you've worked on, and it's created who you've become, and I think it's all important. But if you could sit down with yourself at the very start of your journey, knowing what you know now, what is the one piece of advice you'd give that would have saved you the most time and possibly stress?
That's a great question. The first thing that I would say is that it would go back to the first thing I said earlier, which is intentionality. There was a time in my life when I wasn't intentional. I graduated with a degree. I started in the shop, did a great job working as a mechanic. Let me tell you, I don't know how I pulled that off because I am not mechanically inclined. I'll tell you, if I get a flat tire on the way to the store today, I'm calling AAA. I'm not even trying to fix it myself. I'm not a great mechanic, but I went through that process and made my way into human resources, and then made my way to a manager, then to a director, then to a vice president for Fortune 500 companies. And I thought that, that was my dream life. That's, this is what I wanted. But there's a period of time when I first got promoted to a supervisor that I took my foot off the gas. I got comfortable. I thought, man, I've made it. I grew up in humble circumstances. I grew up in a low income community with high crime. And, if you were to believe the statistics, there's no way that I would even be here today, let alone to have achieved the things that I've achieved. So, intentionality was the difference. There was a time when I got that first job as a manager, I thought I'd made it. I thought, okay, this is what I worked for. It happened. And I took my foot off the gas, and there was probably 5 to 10 years that I just cruised. I went to work. I came home from work. I watched the news. I watched my favorite show. I ate dinner. I went to sleep. I went to work. I came home. I watched the news. I watched my favorite show. I ate dinner. I went to sleep. Before you knew it, a week passed. Before I knew it, a month passed. Before I knew it, a year passed. And I was comfortable. I was complacent. I wasn't pushing myself to do anything. I thought that I had made it and that I could do that for the rest of my life and I would be happy. And then something happened. I read a book by John Maxwell, and he told a story about his mentor asking him the question, what's your personal development plan? And John Maxwell tells a story. He says that he didn't have an answer, but he started talking, and he talked in circles for about 5 minutes before his mentor said, sounds to me like you don't have a personal development plan. And that was speaking to me. I didn't have a plan for my future. I thought, it was like I thought I'd made it, and I didn't realize that I needed to continue pushing myself to achieve more. And John Maxwell explained that we should not be competing with anyone else. The objective is to be the best version of yourself. If you compete with anyone, it is competing with the version of yourself. So each day, the objective is to get better and better and better. And once I heard that, I realized, I thought, man, that makes sense. I need to be working for whatever's next. And so I started getting into personal development and leadership and really digging back deep into it and becoming intentional. And I noticed that I was growing really fast. And that's when I started getting involved in entrepreneurial things and starting a side hustle. And I realized that, that's going to help me, build the financial security that I want. And then I heard something from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was asked a question by a young man, his 15-year-old kid asked him the question of, uh, he said, what should I invest in? And the kid was expecting him. Well, first, let me back up. Warren Buffett they call him the Oracle. He is the best when it comes to investing in the stock market and things of that nature, financial things. And so the kid was expecting him to tell him what stock to invest in so that he can, over the course of his lifetime, make a lot of money. And Warren Buffett paused for a second and he said, young man, the best investment that you can make is in yourself. And he later explained that that meant that when you invest in yourself, you continue to pay dividends over your entire lifetime. And so when you take a few minutes or an hour out of your day to focus on yourself and learn something that's going to help you be better as an HR professional, or something that's going to help you be better as a leader, or something that's going to help you be better as a significant other, those things are going to help you for the duration of your life. And so being intentional about what you want and then creating a plan to make it happen is going to increase the likelihood of it happening. I always think about when I was in the second or third grade, my teacher went around the room and asked us all, hey, what do you want to be? And one kid said, I want to be a football player. And one kid said, hey, I want to be a fireman. And one kid said, I want to be a police officer. And one little girl said, I want to be a nurse. And, we all left it at that. And nobody took the next step. And nobody encouraged us to take the next step, which is to create a plan to make that happen. And that is the mistake that most people make today, is not creating a plan and being intentional about what they want and then creating a plan to make it happen.
Yeah, create the plan. That feels like New Year's resolutions, right? I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year, right? And where's the plan? Like,
Right.
what are you doing? And I remember seeing that once. I was part of a community group where we were um, we were youth advisors. Like, we were all in our early 20s, and we were advising these teenagers and things like that. And we were in this session where all the students, where all the youth were, they were just to draw a picture of what they wanted to do in the future. And just one participant, he drew a flying car and said, I want to develop a flying car. I want to build a flying car. And I remember it was really more of a laugh session, and the so-called adults in the room didn't take it seriously. Okay, maybe he would have never have developed a flying car, but maybe, just maybe, he would have finished high school, went and got a degree, went and got his master's in engineering, a doctorate in whatever, right? He might have went on to do some amazing, great things, but he wasn't encouraged. And I think, um, you know, my background growing up, when I did live in a small community on the reserve around other indigenous people, it really felt like an environment where you weren't going to get out of, right? It was similar to your story, that you're in this place, and we tend to just bring each other down. How dare someone try to make their lives better and get out of that situation and leave us, right? Like, and we all, I think a lot of us grew up in a situation like that where we had just so much negative feedback, right? Like just go clean your room or go to school, and there wasn't a plan, even just overall life plans. I graduated high school and started my first business. The plan was to go on to get my um, computer science degree. That didn't happen. And in the mid 2000s, I thought, oh, I'm going to go get my political science degree. And I did go back to school and take a few extra courses. And that didn't happen because I had to work the family business. During that time, my dad was ill and passed away. And, so I'm stuck with the family business. But when I became 30 and realized that I was experiencing so much negativity with work. And at that point, I didn't realize that there might have been a large amount of racism towards an Indigenous person like me. And, I finally, it gave me enough energy to actually go back to university and get my degree at 30 as an adult student working full time for a government job, right? And it's such a, it again, I feel like the same situation as you. I'm like, could I have gone back? Could I have taught myself something? And a lot of it is, I wish I could, but at the same time, I needed those experiences to become the person I am. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a love-hate wish, right? I would love to go back and say, 20-year-old Ian, get your act together. But would I be the same person? I don't know. Um,
Yeah. What I would say to that is, you're right. Everything that happens to us happens for us. John Maxwell says that sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So when things don't go the way you want, as long as you learn the lesson from it so that you can improve and adjust and do better next time, then it's a positive thing. It happened for you. Um, the benefit of not having that period is that, for example, for me, I always believe that if I would have stayed focused, that I would have been able to accomplish some of the things that I've accomplished later in my life a lot sooner. If they would have taught me in high school that entrepreneurship is really the way to go, entrepreneurship is an option for us that we should consider with along with working for someone else. If I was taught that in high school, instead of learning it in my 40s when I actually learned how to start a business and things of that nature, I would have done it when I was 20, and I might have been successful back then, and my life could be different. Now I'm happy that life turned out the way it is. I love the way life turned out, but a lot of people are waiting to get ready. They're getting ready to get ready, and a lot of the reason that people don't make the change, they don't improve, they don't take that generational jump, is because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to start a business. They don't know how to focus on themselves so that they can achieve the goals that they want. They don't know how to set goals. Those types of things. And it's amazing in my simple, it is that personal development and leadership are the two things, and I'm going to throw in coaching and mentorship because that helped accelerate my growth as well. Those three things, made the difference in my life. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for personal development, leadership, and mentorship, because those are the things that I can look back at and see that is what caused me to elevate. Personal development helped me realize that I can accomplish anything that I want. Um, Napoleon Hill says that you are the master of your own fate. And what that means is that you can do anything you want. If you have a desire to do it, if you have faith that you're capable of doing it, if you organize it and you have the persistence to continue doing it, you can do anything you want. Now, of course, that is within reason, but you can, if you can apply that and take the next step. If you don't like where you are, then you decide, you figure out what's the next step. Too often people think, well, I don't like where I am, so I want to be a millionaire. Okay, well, the difference between here and there is a big jump. You're not going, well, most likely you're not going to jump from here to there. It can happen, but that happens to only a few people. You got to stair step your way up. What's my next step? And you achieve that mountain. And when you get to the top of that mountain, you look around and you see what's next. Okay, so I was in a job that was paying minimum wage and I'd like to make more money. What can I do? What kind of education can I get? What kind of skills can I develop? What kind of networking can I do so I can put myself in a room with people who can help me with my next opportunity? And you practice those things, you study those things, you do those things until you get to your next, and you don't stop until you get to your next level. And then when you achieve that, you stop and you do the same thing. Okay, now I'm in a better job, making more money with better situation. Now I like to get to this situation. So what do I need to do to prepare myself to get here? Ultimately, the key is you've got to make a commitment that you want to be the best person possible. You want to be the best version of you to represent for you and your family. And you're not going to do that sitting on the couch watching TV. You're not going to do that playing video games all day. You're not going to do that if you're just looking at YouTube all the time. Take an hour of that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things. I'm saying if you're spending, they say 3 to 4 hours a day, people spend watching TV, playing video games. If you take an hour of that and use it for personal development to identify what can I use this hour to help me develop so that I can develop a skill that might help me make more money, or develop a skill that'll help me improve my relationship with my significant other, or develop a skill that'll help me start this new business that I've been wanting to start all my life. And you spend an hour a day, you're going to make progress and you're going to do things that you had no clue that you could possibly do, but you got to make the commitment that you want to do it, and then you got to put the time in to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my sister, my big sister, who likes to watch the show. She always makes comments. She says, I still haven't figured out what I want to do. I still haven't figured out what I want to do when I grow up, and I need to figure that out. Joy is 3 years older than me, 2.5, 3 years older than me. So she's basically my biggest fan for the show, along with my mom. My mom still watches the show too, so that's awesome. But it's interesting that we go through these phases in our lives where we're learning and things. You can see the books I have behind me here. A lot of them are business books, sales books, self-help books. I've read Napoleon Hill. I've read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think one of my first favorite books was The Magic of Thinking Big. And I started reading all these back in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's when I graduated high school. And these books have just been part of my life. And I feel like I got to keep reading them. I got to keep consuming them because it's part of who I'm to become, so to speak.
Right.
So I think some of us just don't get that privilege to learn these skills and have that one aha moment, right? And I think it's dangerous. Well, maybe not dangerous, but sad that we don't have the societal ability, just because things, right, in society, to make sure we all get that same education and that same learning. We get to high school, but that's maybe not it. We've got all these other resources, all these other books. None of that's taught in school unless you're
Right.
going for a specific degree or something or some specific training. But it's not. There's so much knowledge out there that just isn't accessible or known about. If you're an average person, playing your video games 3 hours each evening or something like that, you don't know these books are out there. You don't know this information is out there that could spark you. I always talk about how many geniuses, how many Einsteins have we lost in society because we have people growing up in environments that it won't allow them to grow and to become who they're supposed to become. And that's sad. I always think about that.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that people like you and I do what we do, is to share this information, because the books are available to everyone. But like you mentioned, a lot of people don't know about it. The other thing is, which is very important, there is no shortage of information and knowledge. And I mentioned that most people don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. But I'll also say that there's no shortage on information or knowledge. It's all out there. Google has all the information that we need to identify what we need to do to get to the next level. The knowledge and the information itself is not the value. It is being able to apply the information and the knowledge. There's a saying that I love to tell people, that to know but not apply creates the same result as not knowing. So to know but not apply what you know creates the same result as not knowing. So people have read a book, but they're not applying it to their life. So they're not getting the result, just like the person who didn't read the book. So you have to really take action. You have to try something. When I was a professor at Baylor University, the students would ask me, I want to be a leader, but I don't know what to do. Or I want to do something in HR, but I don't know what I want to do. And I always tell them, pick something, as opposed to find just what you don't want to do. Figure out a few things that you want to try, and then go try them. Maybe one of them you love. And if you don't love it, try something else. But you got to start trying things. Rule out the things you don't want to do, but create a few things that you want to try, and then go try them. And if you don't like them, scrap it and start over. But that is how you figure out what you want to do with your life. That is how you determine what you want to do with your career. If you're not sure, try some things that you think you might want to do and see where it takes you. You can always change later, but you can't wait. You shouldn't. I'm not gonna say can't. You shouldn't wait for some aha moment where you get told what it is that you're going to do with the rest of your life. Try some things, see what you like, and maybe you come up with the thing that you love. That's what happened with me in leadership. I started with personal development when I started studying leadership, because I was promoted into a leadership position and my employer did not provide me with any training, and I had to do it myself. I started learning, and I started realizing that as I became a better leader, I actually became a better person. The leadership skills I was learning was helping me to become a better person in general. And I really loved that. I thought, wow, this is great. I'm preparing for work that I do, but it's helping every other aspect of my life. It's helping me create better relationships with my kids and my significant other and my friends. That is amazing. And that's important, because the quality of your life All depends on the quality of your emotions and your relationships. And one thing that leadership does and personal development does is to help you develop skills to build stronger relationships. And if you're able to build stronger relationships, that's going to reduce the number of conflicts you have with others. That's going to allow you to have fewer emotional challenges. And we've all felt it when something bad happens, when we lose a loved one, when our favorite team loses a game, we get that feeling inside that we hate. When somebody treats us wrong, when somebody cuts us off on the highway and gives us that special signal that says we're number one, we get upset. We feel it in our stomach. There is a physical impact of that. You know what I'm saying? You learn how to reduce those things. You learn how to reduce those conflicts. You learn how to create better relationships. So you have fewer of those negative situations where you get emotionally charged and cortisol is released in your body, and those negative things happen in your body. And that helps you to have a better quality of life. And that's what I want for each and every one of you on this call today, is to have a better quality of life. So I'm asking that you take a moment to think about, how are you showing up with regard to leadership and personal development in your life? Do you have a personal development plan? Do you know where you are today? Have you taken a moment to discover who you are? Have you taken a moment to discover what it is that you want? And do you know where it is that you'd like to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years? If the answer to that is no, then I implore you to take some time to stop, assess where you are, determine how you feel about it, and then determine where it is that you'd like to go and create a plan to get there. That is how you get to your next level. And I am sending you wishes. I'm sending you hope. I'm sending you energy for you to go and make that happen, because I want to see you successful and I want to see you create the life that you desire and deserve.
Well, thank you very much, Coach Keith Shaw, for coming on the show. I love those words of wisdom you've got. And, if you want to come on the show again in 6 months or something, I'm totally open to that. Just keep in touch. We don't have any more questions in the chat right now. So, Keith, do you have anything you want to tell us before I kick you off the show?
First, thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share this very, very important topic with your audience. I want to say thank you in general for being a vessel that is allowing others to share their messages that can hopefully have a positive impact on others, because we need each other today. We need to uplift each other. We need to share these secrets that we know that can help other people experience more happiness and success. So thank you for making that possible for other people. And for everyone on the call, I want to say intentionality. Be intentional about what you want. Growth does not just happen. You have to be intentional, know who you are, know where you want to go, create a roadmap to get there. I believe leadership can change the world. In my heart, I believe this to be the truth. Be the change. You are the spark, because change happens first inside of you. I'm Coach Keith Shaw. Thank you.
Okay, Coach, thanks for coming on the show. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, that was awesome. I'm going to end the show there. We've been on for 54 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you got questions in the comments, maybe I'll forward them on to Coach Keith, and he can maybe give you a little help also. Anyway, all his contact information will be in the description of the show once it's posted. Well, it's live right now, so I got to update that stuff.